Today we're talking about why everything feels more expensive right now. It's going to be $1.13 million for the average house. The 500,000 new build is dead. It's never coming back. That's how much it costs to build the same house you grew up in. We're 200,000 homes short and nobody's fixing this. We're 70,000 tradies short and you can't import a roof. You got to put it together. And your builder is one bad job for going under. It's inflation. And inflation is insidious, right? And this is not temporary. This is a structural shift. The reason things feel more expensive is because they are. Hello, George Markoski of the Positive Property Show here with my co-host Charmaine Adams. Hi, Charmaine.
Hey, how's everyone doing?
So today we're talking about why everything feels more expensive right now and what it means for property. You know, from interest rates and everyday costs, things are just getting more expensive. This started in COVID, and it just keeps going.
It does. And I think one of the biggest topics at the moment is fuel prices. I'm seeing things on Facebook, where to go to get the cheapest fuel.
Yeah. And what do you think of my new t-shirt?
Love it.
Can you see it? What does it say?
Best dad ever.
Before we start, I'll tell you a story. I was in Melbourne last year while Christina and I were, trying for a baby. And I went to buy some pajamas at Peter Alexander and I saw this t-shirt and I thought I'll buy it. And when I came home, I wore it and I said, Christina, this is a sign that it's going to work.
I love it. You are wearing it.
So I thought we got like 29 days before the due date. So I thought, you know what, I'll wear it tonight for a bit of a laugh because it's been a fun journey. And yeah, okay, let's start our presentation. I'm going on a bit of a rant tonight. So I hope everyone's ready for my political rant, but there's a lot to talk about. So why everything feels more expensive, what it means for property investors. Well, basically, the reason things feel more expensive is because they are. So that's the simple fact, but why? It's inflation. And inflation is insidious, right? Because the cheap world is over. Global trade routes are becoming less stable and more expensive. Energy shocks and geopolitical conflict are disrupting supply chains. Long-standing trade systems and alliances are breaking down. And this is not temporary. This is a structural shift. And what this means is that high costs are locked into the system. And it all started during COVID and that little experiment. And now it's becoming worse. So, state of the nation, how global pressure is hitting Australia. Everyone's panicking, smart buying is money. So smart money is buying. So consumer confidence has dropped to a multi-year low as rising costs have hit households and sentiment is turning lower. You can see this ANZ Roy Morgan Australia confidence as it fell 0.2 points last week. So the cost pressures of building and affordability is being squeezed. So this is a fact. For every 10,000 in build cost, that equals another 40,000 the price tag of buying a property. And this is what the issue is. The issue is rising energy and input costs are now feeding into the real economy. Materials, transport, labour are all becoming more expensive. So construction sits at the centre of this pressure. So building costs are rising again. And now it's flowing to housing supply and also housing affordability. So property doesn't crash, but people panic, right? So what's happening is the rising cost of interest rates are starting to slow demand. And we can see that in Sydney and Melbourne. Yep, Sydney and Melbourne are leading the slowdown. Buyers are becoming more cautious and price sensitive. Momentum is weakening from a really strong run. Now, this is what we're predicting, not as in we, but Australia in general predicting, is going to be the average house by mid-year. It's going to be $1.13 million for the average house. This is crazy because I remember as a kid, and when I imagined $1 million property, I imagined a massive mansion, one of those big white mansions you see, in Richie Rich or something like that. But really, a $1.13 million property these days, that's the average property that's going to be mid-year. And this is the deal. If you haven't already got a property, you're going to miss out because there's a lot of changes happening at the moment. We're 200,000 homes short and nobody's fixing this. So new housing supply is falling behind demand as major projects just become harder to deliver. And rising costs are squeezing margins and putting builders under pressure. As a result, fewer developers are moving forward. And this is actually reducing the new supply and actually making the gap even wider. 74%. That's the increase, right? That's how much it costs to build the same house you grew up in. Now, the 500,000 new build is dead. It's never coming back. So the average dwelling build cost, 2019 versus 2025. So the average build cost here, you can see in 2019 for detached was 339,000. Now it's 550. Units and apartments was 320. Now it's 608,000 for the average unit and apartment. So it's gone up. The average has gone up 74% from 2019. And that's it. So basically, this is reducing entry-level supply and pushing prices higher. And now this is round two. The round two pricing increase for builders is loading and it's bigger. So input costs are increasing once more, driven by energy, fuel, and materials. This is another layer of pressure to an already stretched system that's been stretched to the max. So projects are becoming even harder to deliver, which is pushing supply even further behind. And have a look at this. Plastic piping, plus 32%. Quarry products, plus 50%. Cement, plus 25%. Concrete surcharge fuel, 100%. Land prep, 30%. Steel, 15%, timber, 12%. And we're 70,000 tradies short. And you can't import a roof. You've got to put it together, right? So labor shortages are getting worse with fewer new workers entering the industry while demand keeps going up. So this is going to make it really difficult. So that's what we need if we want to hit our target. And your builder is one bad job for going under. So rising costs have crushed margins and fixed price contracts are locking in losses. As a result, more builders are going under. This reducing construction capacity and slowing new supply. If you have a look at this graph from 2019, you can see in construction insolvencies, well, about 100, 150, and then they went right down, and then look at them now. They went up in 2023 to over 400, nearly 500 post-COVID, and they're still very high. And the thing is, you look at this graph, this hasn't factored in all the latest rises. So even before these rises, we're losing 300 per quarter, 300 builders, and it's going to get worse because it takes time to go through the system. Migration didn't slow, the houses didn't keep up. Population growth is driving demand. And recently, I don't know if you saw this, but recently India has beaten England as the place where most people in Australia that were born overseas from that country. Because it's been traditionally England for like 100 years, and that's changed. So this is what's happening. We got another 13.4 million new Aussies projected to come into Australia by 2065, and 81% of them are going to cities. This means demand will stay concentrated in major urban areas where supply is already under pressure. There's 13 million people.
Big number.
Massive. Now, this is the deal. Bigger cities are actually harder to expand because what happens is as cities grow, they become more complex and it's more expensive to expand them because the same population growth now requires a lot more infrastructure.
So are you thinking that with that bigger expansion, you're going to see a lot more regional areas starting to really go through huge gentrification to...
Look, 83% of people coming to Australia come to major cities. And the people coming here, they're used to major cities. They like it. They're used to apartments. They're used to major cities, so different. What you're saying makes sense because what's happening now, people can work from home. And because of that luxury, that means that regional places that are really well placed are actually going to grow a lot more than they traditionally have. Because in the past, it was impossible to get a good job in a regional centre. But you can actually live wherever you want. You can live in the middle of nowhere now. And if you have a good internet connection, you can still have a high-paying job. That's never happened before in history. But you're still not going to want to live out in the middle of nowhere in the outback. You're going to want to live somewhere nice though, aren't you? What it means for investors. Okay, so this is what it means. Government just lost control of housing, right? So rising government spending, including major programs like the NDIS, is forcing tighter controls. So we've got, originally we designed NDIS for 410,000 people. Currently, we've got 760,000 people. They want to reform it to 600,000, but at the moment, it looks like we're going to have 900,000 people in NDIS, right? We needed 240,000 houses. We built 170. So we're already falling short But this is nothing, because what's happened recently with construction, and construction companies are about to, because what happens is when you've got prices going up, doesn't end up with people going broke straight away. It takes a while. So next year or two of pipeline, we're going to have a lot of construction companies going broke, and we're going to be able to build a lot less. But not only that, even our pipeline is not big enough, but our pipeline is not going to translate to real properties. So over the last 30 years, our construction productivity has gone down 12%. So the media's got the story backwards. The headlines say housing crisis, affordability disaster, property is unfair. The truth of every word is that is bullish for owners. Owners win every time the system breaks. Renters pay the bill. So pick a side. You want to be an owner? You want to be a renter? Now, watch this video that I did a couple of weeks ago. It's been shared like 5,000 times, more than that, maybe 10,000 times. And this is the issue of Australia at the moment.
This is why Australians feel broke in one of the richest countries on earth. Norway digs it out of the ground and every citizen gets richer. Australia digs it out of the ground and somehow you get the bill. Same game, completely different rules. Norway taxed their resources properly, built a $1.5 trillion war chest, turned gas and oil into generational wealth. Australia, we export the gas, we export the profits, then we import the excuses. And here's the part no one wants to say out loud. We are not being outplayed, we are being sold out. Because this isn't incompetence, this is a system working exactly as designed. A handful of global gas players make billions. Australians get higher power bills and a lecture about market forces. Market forces, mate, if it's your gas under your land, you shouldn't be competing with Japan for it. That's not a market, that's a joke. Let's get real. If Norway ran Australia's gas industry, we'd have lower energy costs, a sovereign wealth fund worth trillions, future generations set up for life. Instead, we've got sky-high energy prices, peanuts in tax revenue, politicians too scared to touch the cartel. And every time someone suggests taxing it properly, the same tired line rolls out. They'll leave. Leave what? The gas? It's not going anywhere. This country doesn't have a resource problem. It has a courage problem. At some point, Australians need to decide, are we owners of this country or just tenants paying rent to it?
That was my little rant, and I've had a lot of comments, thousands and thousands of comments. And now what's happened recently is the Albanese government once again has said we can't tax the gas because it's going to interrupt supply. And you know what? It's piss weak, very piss weak. Now, we send gas to Japan untaxed, and guess what Japan does? Taxes it and gets money on it, right? They get to tax our gas, and we don't, literally. So let's keep going, because I need to finish my little rant. So, and if you look, you compare us to Qatar as well, right? You look at Australia, right? We export 86 billion in gas, we get 10.5 billion. Qatar export 83 billion and get 56 billion in government revenue. Now, at the moment, gas has gone through the roof. And this gives Australians an opportunity to make a lot of money, but we're giving it all to the gas cartels that run Australia. So let me go through this next part. They won't tax gas and they can't manage the NDIS. So guess what they're doing? They're coming after you. Where the tax dollar actually goes and why property investors are the easy target. So Qatar, 56 billion, Australia, 11 billion. Same gas, same demand, completely different outcome, right? This is the thing. You look at this and you look at Norway, and Qatar and Norway, they've got this one part right. But what are we going to do? Okay, this is the gas money they refuse to collect. 56% of Australian LGN ships royalty free. Minus 450 million part revenue fell while profit surged. We got 17 billion in potential revenue with a 25% resource tax that people are pushing for. But the government is too piss weak to try to get it, right? NDIS costs more than defence. Our budget is $46.2 billion for 739,000 participants. The age pension is 62 billion for 2.6 million pensioners, right? And the thing is, I'm not against NDIS, but the problem is it's growing 10% and it's on track to be 125 billion by 2034. Have a look at the next slide, next statistics, right? 86 million dodgy claims, 880 million in non-compliant payments flagged, 2.5 thousand providers disrupted, and 160 participants cut on or reassessed in reforms, right? So they're cutting 160,000 genuine participants to save money while dodgy providers are taking money instead, right? So need NDIS are not getting it to save money. The people that are ripping them off are staying there. So where do they go after for easy money? Gas companies, 15 to 17 billion, left on the table. Lobby groups, donor class, too politically risky. NDIS fraud, they can't fix it. Too complex, too many votes, bad options to cut, disable. Property investors, 5.3 billion, easy target, squeeze from you. No lobblers, media scapegoat, rich landlords narrative. And that's the issue at the moment. The rich landlord they want you to hate. The average taxable income of an Australian landlord is not billionaires, they're working families. It's $91,000. That's their income, the average investor. The CGT discount cut from 50 to 33%, retroactive wealth destruction. Negative gearing, capped at 2 properties, punishes portfolio builders. Combined squeeze of 5.3 billion taken away from everyday investors. 71% of landlords own just one investment property. Media calls them rich, but they earn less than a senior teacher. So follow the cowardice, protected. Gas companies, 56% royalty-free exports. PRRT loopholes, decades-old write-off still active. Mining lobby, 25 million political donations. NDIS providers, 800 million flag, minimal prosecution. Big banks, record profits, zero windfall tax. Attacked, CJ discount slashed 50%, netted gearing capped, average investor income 91,000, not rich. And that's what's happening at the moment. But it's not just property, they're coming for your shares too. And this is the thing. What they're doing is they're trying to slash shares CGT too. The problem is young Australians that are locked out of housing turn to shares to build wealth, but now the government's going to take their money as well. Thank you, government. I'm so glad that you're doing such a good job. So the government's saying they're trying to fix housing by, trying to get rid of CGT negative gearing. But if you want to fix housing, you've got to fix housing, right? Don't punish Australians who are trying to build wealth, right? That's the thing, because what happens when you try to punish property investors, you end up punishing the people you're saying you're helping, which is the renters, because the renters are going to pay the bill at the end of the day. So the real question isn't whether policy changes. It always does. The question is whether your strategy survives what it does. And that's why what we do is we build, buy new, hold long, right structure from day one, never sell, and refinance. It's not a strategy that hopes policy stays the same. It's a strategy built for a government that can't manage its own budget. Now, let's go through some case studies. Real people, real results, why smart investors are buying right now. Okay, now, Charmaine and Greg. I'm going to go through a case study, and if they're here, I'd love to interview as well. This is Charmaine and Greg. Great photo. This is the investment property they got in Yarra Bilba, right? Cost 623,000. 20% deposit, settled in June 24 for 623,650. The market value today is 985,000. The current profit on this property is over $360,000. They bought another property in Moray Field for 519,000. This one here now is valued at 737,000 with a current profit of $217,000. So current total profit is $578,000 in 2 years. This is almost $300,000 per year. And that is what I talk about, taking back control. Okay, let's finish this presentation. Oh, Charmaine.
Hey, Greg.
Hello, how are you?
Good.
Excellent. Well, look, I want to talk a bit about your story because it's very exciting, because we're talking doom and gloom about what's happening. But while we're talking that, you two have made over $300,000 a year passively, right?
That looks so good on paper.
Which is amazing because, passive income is what it's all about. And what people don't realize is passive income is the income you make while you're sleeping, while you're not doing anything, right? You didn't have to work for that. because the average person in Australia doesn't make 300 grand a year, let alone passively. So what I want to do is go through your story, talk about how you found Positive Property. How did you find us, by the way?
To be honest, I think it was Facebook. I saw an ad.
Mm-hmm.
I clicked on a button, had a phone call,
Yep.
and went, yeah, we were at a time. I had a big car accident in what year? 2013. So
Yep.
I came into some payout money. We'd bought a house, but we had leftover funds.
Yep.
And I had previously been bankrupt. So that was a big
Okay.
thing for me. And I didn't know what to do with it. And we didn't want to lose it
Yep.
because
Yep.
we'd already
Okay.
lost everything before. So
Yes.
when I spoke to, I can't even remember who it was at the time.
That's okay.
Yeah, I spoke to them. They explained the system. I went, oh, that makes sense because I love property. Greg's a shares man.
All right.
So
Okay.
we've converted him now.
So how did you convince Greg to do property if he's a shares man? That's the thing.
Okay, because we lost so much money with the shares over COVID.
Okay. Okay. Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
So you're burnt before, so with the shares, and you thought, okay, let's try something different. And
Go
what
back. Yeah.
and how did you decide property? How did you decide property?
My father was a builder and always instilled property. We had properties before we went bankrupt, just our house, and losing that was like gut-wrenching. But once we got money and back again, it was like, okay, how do we build for our kids?
Yep.
That's a big thing with me and Greg, because as you said, the kids can't afford anything anymore.
No, they can't.
So we want to be able to leave them with something that we built and they can keep building on. So that was a big thing for us with property. If I can leave them, I'd like to leave them 2 each, but one we're doing at a good start at the moment.
Beautiful. That's excellent. You got 2 kids, obviously. Is that what it sounds like?
3 kids.
Three.
So we've got
You need to get one more. We need to get one more.
We've got one more property in Sydney that I've just moved out of. So that's now an investment. And I've moved up to Darwin to live with Greg because we've been apart for 5 years, just while we're building everything.
Okay. That would have been tough.
Oh, I flew a lot up and down Sydney to Darwin.
How do you enjoy Darwin compared to Sydney?
I love Darwin. It's amazing. It's a bit more like Bali. So I like that tropics. I like the food. I like the relaxed. It's different. It's a community. So I
love Darwin. I've been to Darwin many times because I used to work in the car industry and I used to work with the Toyota dealership in Darwin and the Ford dealership. And I love mud crabbing in Darwin. Oh, so much fun. And the fishing.
Haven't done any of that yet. Yeah.
So you'd love the fact that Mendel Markets opening night is tonight. So Mendel Markets is...
I make a tradition. Every time I come here, I come to the Mendel Markets. I love it. It's such a beautiful spot. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, it's literally from where we've bought. It's about a 10-minute walk, if that. So we're at Cullen Bay is where we've bought.
That's a lovely place, Cullen Bay.
This is going to be our bolt hole because the one in Sydney, even though we bought it over 2 years ago, has made next to nothing.
Yep.
So it's just going to be...
it was an owner-occupier.
Owner-occupier. We're changing all of that loans over shortly to investor. So we're going to actually have extra money. So we're going to have an extra couple of grand a month to build up our war chest to buy another property. And we're not going to sell it. So we're not worried about the capital gains. We're just going to lock it in and that's just leave it. Rent it.
Exactly. And that's what we do. We buy and we hold. And when you work long-term, that's the way it works. So you joined Positive Property. You must have been a little bit nervous.
Oh, very nervous because I didn't want to lose anything.
Yeah. Okay. So what gave you the confidence to join us then?
I think it's your team. Like they knew what they were talking about. I liked the behind the scenes. I like that you had someone in property. I like you had someone in finance. If I've got a question, I can ask anyone and anyone can answer it is a big thing. So the product knowledge is massive. You know who you're speaking to. Then, because we were offered a property fairly quickly because we had the cash funds. So once they sent it through us, we looked at it. Greg did his research. I don't. I go, oh, yeah, let's go. He did his research. It looked good. We go, what can we lose? Nothing. So we did it and we haven't looked back.
Yes, well, it did well for you. So
really well.
A big thing that I love about the Positive Property is the circle of trust.
Yep.
The reason being is so we've got our mortgage broker, David Vagel, through you guys. Yep. He introduced David Lai, who's our accountant.
Yep.
We use PIP for all of our insurances, including our own personal insurance, landlord insurance, property insurance. So that circle of trust was a very big thing because it saves you having to go out and look for certain people.
Yes.
Trust that they can do the job because you guys obviously use them and vet them. That's a big thing for me.
Beautiful.
Super
Beautiful.
we do too. We've
Yeah,
done
super.
self-managed super.
So we set up
Yeah.
the self-managed super, all that sort of gear, went through super strategists. Yeah, that's a big thing for us.
Fantastic. Fantastic. What are your goals for the future? You've done very well. You got those 2 investment properties. You've made nearly 600,000 in equity.
Yeah.
Oh, we need more.
Yeah. So I got told by the mortgage, if we want more properties, I had to go back to work.
Yep.
So I've gone back to work this week.
Well done.
I
Well
want
done.
another one this week.
Yep.
This year plan is I'm hoping by the end of this year we can get our number 4 investment.
Yep.
So that's sort of where my plan is, to build up the wealth again. And then each year slowly by 1. I want to hit 10. Greg will be happy anything from now. So we'll see.
Okay.
It's all about our
Right.
retirement and setting that up.
Yep. I think 10's a really good goal
Yes, so do I.
because it's a great goal. And the thing is, you want to shoot for the sky, you hit the moon. You shoot for the moon,
Yeah.
hit the sky,
Yeah.
that type of thing. And I think it's a great goal. And yeah, are you guys coming along this October to Queensland?
I have booked it, but because I've just got this job,
Of course, yes.
I have to see if they'll give me the time off. Fingers crossed, but yeah, we are definitely booked.
Well, we've
Okay.
booked accommodation, whether we do it, whether my schedule works out.
Yeah, because
We'll see.
Greg's the train driver, so he's in and out as
Yep.
well. But yeah, booked the super yacht. So yeah, enjoy it.
Okay.
Because last time I was in Bali, we bought this place.
Fantastic.
No, we love positive property, and
Awesome.
we're going to buy more through 100%.
Yeah.
Fantastic. What would you say to people that are looking at positive property or looking at investing in property? What would you say to them? Because a lot of people get
Give it a
nervous.
go. Yeah, I'd say give it a go and trust the system. You have to trust the system. It's hard if you're a control freak, but know what they give you and all the information that you get, you can't find out as a normal person. Like the background search is it just beats anything you can find on your own. And you know, you're not going to get something bad because it looks bad on you. So
Exactly. I mean,
it's
my
only-
reputation,
yeah,
You know,
it's on it.
yeah.
So
I don't want
I'd
to
say
go,
go
hey,
for
you
it.
bought 2 properties, you made no money. That'd be not a
That's
good
a problem.
case study.
Yeah.
That wouldn't be a good case study, no.
Yeah.
And I think one of the things you talked about, and it actually makes sense, but it's very, very simple, is you hold the property, you have your interest only. The money that you would have paid extra to pay down that mortgage, goes to the next property, which then goes to the
Exactly.
next property, which then goes to the next property. Because, as I said, Charmaine said, our kids are not going to buy in this environment.
Mhm.
And as much as I want my kids out of Sydney, and I don't know if they'll ever leave Sydney, but we need to then do something. I know it's the bank of mum and dad, and the government is making it harder to be the bank of mum and dad, but
Mhm.
I can't see anything. We're going to be gone in 20, 30, or maybe 30, 40 years.
People living longer, so you need to plan for longer. You know that,
That's
don't you?
it. That's what I like.
They really
He'll
are.
be
They
dead, I'll
really
still
are.
go.
So the latest technology on longevity, I need to do a session on this. It's amazing. How old are your kids, if you don't mind me asking?
Caleb's 33, Leilani is 27 or 26, and Jai's 24.
Okay. You know what's better than buying them a property?
What?
Getting them to do it themselves.
Yeah, well, our eldest has got a brain injury. He's disabled.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
So he's the only one. The other 2, yeah, we're working on them. As long
Yep,
as they've got
'cause-
stability, we're happy.
Yep,
Let
because
them
we've
get
got the
going.
legacy program.
Yeah, I know that.
Because there's 2 ways you can help someone. You can feed them a fish or teach them how to fish.
Yeah.
And teaching them how to fish is harder. A lot easier for you to just buy a property and go, here you go, which is great. But even though teaching someone how to fish is harder, the value they get out of it is much higher.
Oh, I agree.
Yeah, because what I've noticed, and we've got quite a few members all around Australia. As you know, we've helped over 3,500 people. And there's a few people that I've personally seen go through. And we've had people that, they joined the program. This one young guy is a truck driver, joined the program. He didn't have a lot of confidence. He was getting actually bullied at work. He joined the program. Not only did he lose weight, but he lost weight. He got a better job with more pay. He ended up getting a girlfriend, all that from the confidence of doing one thing really well. You know what I mean? Which is a massive difference. Well, instead of staying at home and buying these cars, he did a lot better. And then, we've had other people. We had one girl, and she was in quite a very average relationship, even though she was very successful. And after she invested in property, she said goodbye to him and moved on and became free because before that she wasn't. So it's amazing what happens to people when they become more confident. When you do really well in one area of your life, it really helps all the other areas of life as well.
But yeah, I agree. It's just trying to get that start, because Sydney, like 3 kids in Sydney, it's just really hard to get that start and get your head above the parapet, or even just get your fingernails on the parapet.
That's why rent vesting. That's what I did. I lived in Sydney and I found it very hard. It was very difficult, right? And that was, you know, probably cheaper back then when I was doing it, but yeah.
Yeah.
But I was like,
we made some good money in Sydney though at the time.
Oh, there you go. There you go. Exactly. Because when I moved back to Adelaide, I was like, wow, I didn't realize things could be so cheap.
Yes.
But you know what happened? I was so used to Sydney. I was walking in the mall and I was almost knocking people over, because in Sydney, everyone walks so fast. And in Adelaide, everyone's just wandering along.
Yeah, I know. I know the difference. I go to Adelaide every 2 weeks, just about, and it's funny. It's a funny city.
Yeah, definitely. Anyway, look, I appreciate you both. Thanks for being part of our community. Well done, and I look forward to seeing you kicking more goals in the future.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, so there we go. That was really good. It was good to hear that. It's pretty amazing that, you know, with inflation going up, what people are doing in property and what's going to happen.
It creates that security and that safety net for your future.
Yeah, and the thing is, if they change negative gearing or CGT, right? Because a lot of people are worried about that. There's a lot of people probably looking now at, you know, what's happening and going, shit, what's going to happen? This is the thing, what you need to do. Get into property quicker, because they'll probably grandfather it. And if you buy property before they make the changes, you'll probably have a much better opportunity. But it ain't going to help the property. What they're doing at the moment, the government, I find is really gutless. They're leaving all the big corporates and trying to attack the middle class, as they always do. It's ridiculous. We're going to go through some Q&A.
Oh, let's have a look. A lot of comments here, no questions. So we've got great video. In the success story, was the rent at the beginning and today?
Oh yeah, that'd be good to know. I think we should get that in our success stories. I guess what I'll do then, why don't we say goodbye to the public, go into our private group, and then we can get some real questions answered. I just wanted to say to everyone that came along, thank you so much, and look forward to seeing you next Thursday night.